Oh, I do want to mention, I paid for this. This wasn't gifted or anything. G'day, welcome to my channel. This is day 2 of the Canvent calendar. We'll see how many days I can leave this set up here before the wife or the kids make me move it. But it's really handy to be able to come out every day and stand in the same spot, put the lights on, turn the camera on, but it's not going to last. It never does. All right, we are on the Bridge Road Brewers Canvent calendar. So there's going to be a lot of Bridge Road beers, I assume. There is Bridge Road and Friends, but... and today, well, you can probably tell, is a classic. Their Beechworth Pale. I could go through the awards it's won, but we'd be here all day. It is just... I'll pour one. Look at that. Oh, I've got to watch the can slug. Did I shake up this can? No, they're just bubbles, bubbles, bubbles. I'm going to stop there. When I say can slug, when beers were always in bottles, you can pour it and you can see the little bit of yeast or a little bit of gunk that had settled out before, even though if they're not bottle conditioned, of course, but you'd see it and you'd be able to stop pouring. In cans, it just happens so much quicker because you can't see it. And when you do see it, it's usually too late. So I call them can slugs. Here goes the second controversial statement from the second video, because adding that stuff, if you think that makes your beer taste better, then you probably should brew better beer, and you wouldn't need that gunk in your beer because it's just waste matter to me. Anyway, this beer is an awesome beer. I'm saying that before I've even had a taste, but I know Beechworth Pale Ale. This is a beer that I've had hundreds of times. It's just a classic pale ale. Now, the funny thing was, well, it's not funny. As you know, I've done brewery series videos with Beechworth. We did their Celtic Red. And one of the tacks I use sometimes for breweries, which Ben would probably tell me anyway. Ben's a legend, but I suffer a little bit from anxiety, and it really holds me back sometimes, and that's probably why I'm still sitting in this garage. But sometimes when it's more me, as I said, it's my anxieties of asking for things, right? And before, this was a couple of years before we did the brewery series video, but I went on a tour of the brewery, I think probably on their first Fresh Hop Festival, and they listed the grains, and I wrote them all down. I've still got the pad somewhere, I think, but there wasn't amounts, and I can't remember. I don't even know where it is. They went through the grains they used, and I went, oh, what grain? What crystal malt? And I wrote it all down. And then I was too, paranoid, or anxiety took over. And then the next year I was back again and did another tour. Oh, what hops do you use? Oh, okay. And so the next year I wrote down all the hops. I do remember there was actually more grain varieties originally than I expected. The hops have changed a lot over the years, but I've said this, many, many times on my channel, and I always get a thumbs down when I do, but people just don't realise. When you're commercial, and this beer might have started a single hop, right? Might have started 2 hops. But when you're commercial and you're trying to pump them out year on, year out, month after month after month, you can't keep doing... Sometimes you just can't get the hop. All right? So if it's only a 2 hop beer and you can't get 1 hop, you're stuffed. So what happens is they end up being smart and using maybe 4 or 5 different hops. And then if one they can't get or is not right, then they can use others to compensate. And that's what smart breweries do, and that's what I know they've done with the Beechworth Pale Ale. But it still tastes now, as I remember, great. And other thing I remember, when I was first asking about the grain long ago. This is a long time ago. And I'm pretty sure they said it ferments out to 1.004. And back then, even when all my brews are going, how do you get them to ferment out to 1.004? What are you doing? Because I was always stuck around the home brewing 1 packet of yeast, too much crystal malt, and mine, most of them would be stopping around 10.10 or whatever. Some of them might get down to 10.9 or whatever. Well, you know what I mean. I've learned a lot since then, but I know now how to do it. But drop those mash temperatures was the one thing Ben said to me. Drop those mash temperatures. That makes heaps of sense. But I've learned a lot from Ben, and this is just a classic pale ale. It's so flavourful, but it's done well. Whereas people that don't really enjoy hoppy beers, full-on hoppy beers, I think can still enjoy this beer. I think my wife would have one. It might be a little bit hoppy for her. Yeah, I think it's one of their most solid beers. If you haven't had Bridge Road for a long time, they have revamped a little bit after the time we don't want to talk about, and Ben was trapped overseas, if you didn't know, for nearly 2 years, I think. But when Ben's come back, things have refreshed. So if you haven't tried them for a long time, I think you should try them. It sounds like I'm trying to sell for them, but it's a brewery I love. There's a couple of my mates that are going to say, oh, you always just talk them up. And well, why wouldn't you? Independent brewery. They've been around since when I was drinking them before the craft brew craze, and they're still there. They're doing it, and my wife owns 2 shares. It's got nothing to do with it. But if you haven't had it, it's just a solid pale ale. It's a solid pale ale. There's nothing bad to say about it. I can't fault it. It's just a great beer. I've talked enough about it, and you should be able to buy it just about anywhere. Take it easy. I'll see you in the next one. Way too long again. I've got to shorten these videos. Man, I'm going to have to cut out a heap of this because that's 13 minutes. I need these like under 5 minutes. Oh shit, nearly pushed that off the table. Take it easy. See you later. Thanks, Bridge Road. Looking forward to the next one. They're not going to all they're not going to all be Bridge Road. There'll be different ones, I think. Take it easy. Merry Christmas.